Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verses 6 to 10.
न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितम् विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः.
So far up to 7. We have done up to sloka number 7 in this class of chapter 15 of the Gita. So far up to 7, the thought flow is that this samsaric world has come out of Brahman. Due to the ignorance of Brahman, the world has come about. The non-apprehension of Brahman has brought about the misapprehension of Brahman, and non-apprehension is the ignorance and misapprehension is the manifested world. So, and having come into this world, we are going on creating more and more vasanas and perpetuating our samsara. So we should understand the nature of this samsaric world as impermanent, transient, and become detached. With that acts of detachment, we should pursue the goal of self-realization. And when we realize the self, it is a state of non-return. In the sense, once the vasanas are eliminated, thereafter, there is no coming back again. There are no more births. Once you have developed into that level where your awareness is 100%, there is no question of you falling down from that level. So, yadgatva nani vartante. And that state of Brahman or Atman is self-illumining. It doesn't require any other illumining source like sun or moon or fire. In fact, it is that which illumines sun, moon and fire. So it is self-illumining. And that state, once you reach, there is no question of returning. This he said in 6. And in 7 he says, once you understand this, in fact from verse number 7 till 11, the topic is Brahman is microcosm. Till now, he talked from the macrocosmic level, the world point of view. Now he is saying it is the same Brahman reflecting through the body, mind, and intellect becomes the individual. So the microcosm is also in effect nothing but that supreme Brahman only. Just like the sun above is only one, and the sun's ray falls on a particular medium. There is a glass which is broken into different pieces. And the sun above, all the rays of the sun, different rays, which are nothing but the sun only. You can't differentiate the sun and its rays. So it falls on different reflecting medium, and different reflected suns have come about. Right? All these different reflected suns are actually that one sun above only, which has become many. So that's what he wants to say. A portion of my eternal self, having become a being in the living world, abiding in Prakriti, matter, the 5 elements which is manifested from the Maya, attracts the senses with the mind as the 6th, meaning 5 senses and mind are actually part of Sukshma Sharira, basically. He's not talking about the Dwalayas. Dwalayas means this physical ears, physical eyes, physical nose, physical skin, physical tongue. He's talking about the subtle aspect, which is the senses. And that, along with the mind meaning both the mind and intellect, are nothing but Sukshma Sharira. So when the Sukshma Sharira means subtle body. So when the pure consciousness, Brahman, reflects through the subtle body, the individual is born. That's all he's saying. Right? So when our our self functions through the body, it functions as perceiver and actor. Because the body is what? Housed with this 5 Valayas which can perceive, and the corresponding gross aspect of the 5 organs of action. So 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception is what is housing this body, meaning the gross aspect of it. So when the pure consciousness functions through the gross body, you either perceive or act. So then you become the perceiver or actor. When it functions through the mind, which is nothing but feelings, emotions, you become a feeler. When it functions through the intellect, the gross intellect, you become the thinker. When it functions through the subtle intellect, you become the contemplator. So we are none other than perceiver, actor, feeler, thinker, contemplator from the relative point of view. Right? Perceiver and actor put together is the physical personality. Feeler is the emotional personality. And thinker is the intellectual personality. And contemplator is the spiritual personality. So we have these 4 different personalities. Most of us are stuck in physical and emotional. Some very little people are there in thinking personality, the intellectual personality. Very rare is one who is in spiritual personality. So in this shloka, he is saying, this is what it is. You are actually the Atma reflecting through the subtle body. You have become the individual. And once you have become the individual, then as an individual, what is happening? How the individual comes into this body and how the individual leaves, all that he talks in next shloka. Let's get on to shloka number 8.
Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramatishvaraha grahitvaitani samyati vayurgandhani vashayat.
When the Lord acquires a body, Lord meaning Ishvara. So he says, when the Lord Ishvara acquires a physical body, and also when he leaves it. Now you don't like the word he, you can use she. You don't like it, you can use capital it also, no problem. Right. Basically what their meaning is, the Ishvara, Atma. So when the Lord acquires a body, and also when he leaves it, he takes these and goes as wind carries the scents from their seed. Now, it's interesting, he gives the example of the wind. When the wind carries the scent from one place to another, wind is only playing the role of a medium, isn't it? Whatever may be the fragrance is taken from one place to another through the medium of wind. Similarly, wants to say that Atma is only a medium. And he's talking about the reflected consciousness moving from one body to another. He's basically talking about death. Right? So he's saying when the Lord acquires a body and also when he leaves it, he is carrying the scent. So what he wants to say, in the previous chapter we studied, right, the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. And there also it mentioned, when a person dies with sattva predominating, and a person dies with rajas predominating, and a person dies with tamas predominating. What happens? He explained. So what he wants to say is, you carry your vasanas from one janma to another. Right? In the medium of consciousness, which means the consciousness is not what is being born. The consciousness is not what is dying. Consciousness is beyond birth and death. Which means what? You, me, and all of us are technically beyond birth and beyond death. We are beyond birth, beyond death. But when the consciousness reflecting through the subtle body has now acquired the gross body and is now reflected as the individual. As per the vasanas and subtle body, the gross body manifests, and when the consciousness is reflecting through that, the individual is come up now, the jiva. Right? And who is the jiva? Bundle of vasanas. Right? So now, when this physical body is no more conducive for expression of the vasanas, you give up this body and new one you take up. So what he wants to say is, Atma is all pervading. Consciousness is all pervading. And consciousness being all pervading, it cannot move from one body to another. Right? So what is obviously moving, because you see the physical body there and a person is dead. When a person is dead, the physical body is there. And Atma, consciousness being all pervading, that should also be there. That is also there. Then what is obviously moved? What is the scent that is compared here? Vasanas along with the subtle body. Vasanas along with the subtle body moves from one gross body to another in the medium of consciousness. That's all he wants to say. So we have given this example before. We'll use the same example. A mirror is fitted in a frame. Let's call it frame A. And there's another frame B in which there is no mirror fitted. Now you unscrew the mirror from frame A and screw it in frame B. The sun which was reflecting in the frame A now will reflect in frame B. Why? Because the reflecting medium has shifted. Right? So that's what he's saying. The Lord is carrying. Meaning what? The fact that the subtle body is not there, the reflection has stopped. That doesn't mean the consciousness is moved. We only can see the reflected light. We can't see the original light, isn't it? So that's why when you travel in space and all, where there is no object for the light to be reflected, sun's light reflection is not possible, it's dark. Suddenly when there is an object, you can see the reflected light. Do you get it? So, therefore, he's saying, we foolishly identify only with the reflected light, only with this Jivatma. The Atma is reflected through the subtle body. So he's saying, when the Lord acquires the body and also when he leaves it, he takes these and goes as wind carries the scent from their seat. So similarly, consciousness which was reflecting in this body is now reflecting in another body. This you must understand this. So everything that you see is nothing but the, what do you call, reflected consciousness only. Wherever there is reflecting medium, you see it reflected. Wherever there is no reflecting medium, the consciousness is not reflecting there. Doesn't mean consciousness is not there. So one of the examples we discuss in this context is when you heat water, you pour water in a vessel and heat it on a gas stove. What happens? The heat is transferred to the water also, right? But do you see the light aspect of the heat which is there in fire? The gas stove is burning. In that fire, there is both heat as well as light. Do you see the heat aspect only in hot water, or do you also see the light aspect in hot water? Only the heat aspect. But when you burn up iron rod or iron ball will slowly get the heat as well as the light. It will reflect both. Right? So when fire is heating up water, its capacity is only to express heat, not light. When fire burns the iron ball, it has the capacity to reflect both the heat as well as the light. Similarly, in this entire prapancha, wherever the subtle body is there, you see the reflected consciousness. Wherever the subtle body is not there, you only see the existence aspect. You understand? Pure consciousness is called as Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa, Brahman. Right? Sat is seen in the elements which has no subtle body. Only they exist. But when you come to the other species which has subtle body, depending upon the the presence of subtle body, you will see the consciousness manifested. In certain animals, subtle body is there, but very frugal, isn't it? So therefore you see there also the jiva is there, but their awareness level is not so high, because the capacity of the subtle body is only that much to reflect. You get it? So in the elements, you see consciousness as existence principle. In the other species where subtle body is also present, you will see the subtle body reflecting the consciousness, and you will see conscious principle and also they experiencing enjoyment, which is Ananda. Do you get it? So why we are bringing this here is, it is all nothing but the Lord only. A lot of people keep asking, if God is there, where can we see? In fact, if you are ready, you can see everywhere. Right here, God is there. But the problem is we are not ready. So we don't see. So that's what he's saying. Consciousness is nothing but existence, consciousness, and Ananda, Brahman. Brahman is nothing but Sat, existence, Chit, consciousness, and Ananda, the happiness or bliss. Now you see the living beings, existing, and they are conscious, and they are going through bliss. Now, the non-living beings you see as only existing. For that, we gave the example of water and iron ball. Fire equated to consciousness Brahman, iron ball to the living beings with subtle body, and water to the non-living beings without subtle body. That's all. So that's all he wants to say. Therefore, it's the consciousness that is playing the role of a medium only. Right? And the vasanas, which is equated to the scent, is moving from one gross body to another. In fact, that's the only thing we carry. We don't carry any other thing. Nowadays, one of the topics people talk is US visa. If you apply for it, you may get appointment after 1 year, 1.5 years, like that. And after that also, there's no guarantee you'll get the US visa. Right? Now, let's say you got the US visa. You applied, waited for 1 or 2 years for the appointment, you got it also. And due to prarabdha karma exhaustion, before going to US, you died. Then you don't carry your US visa to the next Janma. If you're born again, you have to again, in that Janma, wait for US visa another 1 or 2 years. You understand? So, it's only the vasanas we carry forward. We do nothing about it. Nothing about it. We are simply creating more and more vasanas. We should reduce, not increase. So he says, death is nothing but transference of causal body, vasanas, along with subtle body, the mind and intellect, from one gross body to another in the medium of pure consciousness. Please remember this. Death is nothing but transference of vasanas along with subtle body from one gross body to another in the medium of pure consciousness. That's all it is. So consciousness is not moving. Atma is not born. Atma doesn't die. And in the next shloka, and in this entire portion, from 7 to 11, this is the thought flow he builds. He wants to say that, having built all this thought, he wants to say finally that ignorant people do not know this, wise people know this. If you know this and live, you will have a qualitative life. If you don't know this and live, you will not have that kind of a life. That's what he wants to say. Continue. Verse number 9.
Shotram chakshusparshanam cha rasanam granameva cha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate.
Presiding over the ear, eye, skin, tongue, nose, and also the mind. The 5 sense organs of perception and the mind. This being means the consciousness, enjoys the objects of senses. Right? So what he wants to say here is, this being here means the pure consciousness. So, per se, the 5 organs of perception and the mind are inert. I don't know how many of you attended our Tattvabodha class. In the Tattvabodha class, we had discussed this, that, the Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body, is made up of tanmatras, the pure elements. And this gross body is made up of gross elements. The thing you need to understand is Ishvara is consciousness or Purusha and Prakriti, which is Maya. Right? So Ishvara is Purusha and Prakriti, consciousness and Maya. Maya is Trigunatmika. The Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic gunas are in Maya. There is no guna in Purusha. Right? So the Maya manifests. When it first manifests, it manifests as what? In Tattva he explains. As the gunas Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And in the purest form, the elements are there. Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. From the Sattvic aspect of each of the element, each of the five senses have come about. And the collective Sattvic aspect of each of the elements, mind has come about. In meaning intellect, mind and intellect. And similarly, Rajasic aspect of each of the five elements, five organs of action has come about. The collective Rajasic aspect of all that put together, the pranas have come about. Pancha pranas. Prana, apana, samana, vyana, udana. And the tamasic aspect of these elements, they go through what is called as panchikarana. Panchikarana means penta. In English, it is very funny, this whole sentence. Pentamerous self-division and mutual combination. Meaning, the five elements in the tamasic aspect, they go through self-division and they mix with each other. And from the mixed elements, what you call as gross elements, this gross world and this gross body has come about. This is what we studied in Tattva Bodha. Remember that. So, this gross world, gross body is what? Made up of five gross elements. And Sukshma Sharira is made up of subtle elements. So, the gross senses, the Gwalayas, and the real senses and the mind, which is the subtle body, they are all nothing but elements. And they are all insentient. I wanted to say that only. They are all insentient. It is the pure consciousness that reflects through this senses and mind and has now made these senses and the mind sentient. If the consciousness is not reflecting through them, it's useless. It is insentient. Do you get it? In Bhajagovindam, there's a shloka. It says, as long as you have the capacity to earn, your wife at home will inquire your welfare and all that. Once your capacity gone, you understand, then you won't have that respect. What he wants to say in all those shlokas and all that is, really speaking, how you are able to work and earn wealth, all that, in fact, he's going to say all that later on, memory and everything, is because of the consciousness functioning. Right? So, but we give importance to this body in which it is reflecting. We give importance to this body in which it's reflecting. But this body will have no value when the consciousness is not reflecting in it, because the subtle body is left. So instead of valuing the consciousness, they are valuing the body. This is the delusion, which he's going to talk about in the next sloka. So now what he's saying, the consciousness presiding over the senses and the mind is becoming the reflected consciousness, jiva, right? And the jiva sitting in the senses and the mind is what is enjoying. When I'm talking, you are hearing. That is an enjoyment. And if I spoke ill words about you, it's giving you dukkha. That is also enjoyment. You're enjoying dukkha. If I praise you, you get elated. You're enjoying joy. Joy and sorrow. Both are enjoyment from Vedantic point of view. You understand? So we are experiencing all this because of the presence of the consciousness. So the consciousness present in the subtle body and the gross body is what is actually enjoying it. Is what he wants to say. As the jiva. Right? So if the consciousness was not there, you won't be able to enjoy. So the individual seated is sitting and enjoying. Because consciousness is helping. How much thank you are we saying to the consciousness? We don't even recognize its presence. We don't even discuss about it. Right? We take it for granted. When we lead a life which is indulgent and slowly, all the faculties give up, right? And they don't have that much capacity to reflect as it used to reflect before. Right? Then slowly decay, disease, death happens. Right? Decay, disease, death happens. And we leave the body and take up another body and go to there. And there we enjoy. So therefore he says, it is that being, pure consciousness, sitting, presiding over, he says. Presiding over means he is not making them function. He is not the doer. In his presence, they are functioning. Are you with me? Electricity has no desire to make any gadget function. But in the presence of electricity, the gadget functions. Sun has no desire to make any being function. In the presence of sun's light and vitality, beings function. So like that, in the presence of Atma, the five senses and the mind function, and you are going through this variety of experiences, perceptions, actions, emotions, thoughts, everything we are going through. That's all he says. So, therefore, who is really enjoying? We are saying, I'm enjoying, I want to enjoy more, I want to enjoy more. We are giving the, the importance to this reflected consciousness, jiva. But actually, if you had understood this, you should be giving importance to the Atma, not the jiva. And that's what, that's what he's saying in the next sloka. And very rarely, even after we studying in the class, you'll remember all this. Right? But the moment we finish the class, and even when the prasad is being distributed, you forget. You get lost. And that he says in the next sloka. How quickly we fall for Maya. That's why whatever happens, at any cost, doesn't matter we made mistakes or we didn't make mistakes. Everyone is bound to make some mistake or the other. Even sadhaks, while being in the path, will make mistakes. And the world may judge them. That's up to them. You understand? They are only answerable to their conscience. So, when whether you fall or you don't fall continuing the sadhana, you have to make sure you continue, hold on to this knowledge. It should not leave. So I keep saying in the class, like when you pack your bags and go for some vacation, traveling with your family or friends, you pack your shoes, you pack your yoga mat also, right? Some people do that. Very importantly, they pack the meals. A lot of people, I remember some business people whom I know, they go to China very often and they are vegetarians, pure vegetarians. From here, they pack so much of this vegetarian stuff. सर वहां पर थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है sometimes. So packing. But I'm traveling, sir. Can't study. Right? You're packing shoes. You're packing yoga mat. You're packing your food. How much luggage will your Gita book will take? Huh? One Gita book to carry. And that too, if you nowadays anyway carry your iPad. Nowadays, all these are available in Kindle and all this playbook and all that. You are not going to carry any extra luggage. Anyway, carrying your iPad can be there in it. And it's not just, it is there. You have to study wherever you go. That little time. Because in us, it's reflecting, and yet we are missing it. Even now when I'm talking, he's going to say that in the next shloka. So when I talk about it, I'll explain this. Let's get on to shloka number 10.
उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः.
This being departing or dwelling or enjoying. While the consciousness is dwelling in the body and enjoying various experiences, or when the vasanas have left and moved to another, is referring to that as departing. So, in all these conditions, united with the gunas, the expression of Maya, qualities, the deluded individual, deluded, do not perceive this consciousness. He is lost. Those with the eye of wisdom see. Pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Jnana chakshu means third eye. Third eye does not mean that fleshy third eye on your forehead. It is symbolically spoken that way. But third eye means not just looking through this physical eyes, through the subtle intellect, with a purified personality. Through tapas, you get that within. So he says, even though they are in the world, they are experiencing all this, they don't perceive. So, pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Deluded people do not perceive. What are you deluded by? Your perceptions, actions, emotions, and thoughts. All of us are deluded. That's why I said in this class, that's what I was going to explain. Now I'm talking. While I'm talking also, you have to apply these shlokas. When you apply these shlokas, now as I'm talking, obviously the commentary of Bhagavad Gita is what is going on here. Now, the sound is entering your ears. You are experiencing the sound. Then it is bringing a certain understanding in you. You are experiencing that understanding. That understanding is either giving an elated feeling or a useless fellow, same thing is going on. Pata nahi what is going on inside you. Some experience, right, at the intellectual level. Correct? All these are happening. Why it's happening? Because consciousness is reflecting through that. right? When the sound enters your ears, what is happening is you are hearing. The moment you are hearing means consciousness has reflected through that. Now, what is happening is you are getting lost in the words that I am speaking. You are lost in the words that I am speaking, maybe. Right? So, each one of us, while we are experiencing through each of the senses and the mind and the intellect, we are all getting lost. While each of it is an opportunity for us to appreciate the divinity within, for us to appreciate the consciousness within. Each perception, each emotion, each action, each thought is an opportunity for us to bow down in reverence. Are we doing that? No? Isn't it? So that's what he's saying. When this departing, dwelling, or enjoying is going on, associated obviously with the gunas. Sattva, rajasic, or tamasic. Depending on what gunas, you will be in such environment and you will be experiencing all that. One who is deluded, do not perceive the consciousness. But who perceives? Pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. One who has gone through the process of purification. Only he perceives it. You understand? Jnana chakshu has to, eye of wisdom basically. Jnana chakshu means eye of wisdom. So we should not be satisfied with just mere knowledge, information. We need to, through the information, identify with the consciousness within. If that identification with the consciousness has not happened, if that connection has not happened, in today's context, your connections define your wealth. Your network is your net worth, they say. Right? So a lot of people busy networking. Everybody is busy networking. So probably we are also networking in Vedantic for satsang. But the point is, a real networking connection we have to make is with the pure consciousness within. And how do you do that? By purifying your personality. It's not just intellectually thinking externally. You see, the consciousness is everybody's essential nature. And it is now covered by innumerable desires and conditionings. Right? So we need to keep on doing sadhana. Come out of those innumerable desires and conditionings and keep purifying ourselves. And when we keep doing that, then as the conditionings and desires drop, the consciousness from within will start revealing itself more and more. That's what he's saying. Pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. All the other fellows are in muda. He in fact uses the word vimuda. Delusion. Vimuda means PhD in delusion. Swami uses exact words. Not only we are deluded, even when somebody is pointing out, we will justify saying, what delusion? We are not deluded. You are actually deluded. Talking all kinds of things, So, exaggerated value we have placed for something which has no intrinsic value. See, when an elephant dies, tremendous worth is there for the elephant's ivory and the bones and everything. Right? When a cow dies, tremendous worth is there. And when a human being dies, even though you can donate your eyes and all that, it has to be done within certain time and all that. The worth of human body is nothing. Right? Like that, really speaking, what is worthy? What is not worthy? We are all after things that are really not worthy. That's why in the book Vedanta Treatise, Swamiji has used a very interesting phrase. He calls them all these, everything in this world, especially the so-called precious stuff. He calls it as precious trifles. In short, everything is trifle. In that, some are considered precious. Right? Really speaking, what should be precious? That which is not trifle. Including what I'm speaking, including Vedanta is a trifle, but from a higher point of view. I told you in Tamil, in certain texts, they call the philosophy which they are talking, or the entire Vedanta, everything as Tattva Kuppai. Kuppai means Kuda. You understand? It is from that point of view. If you have collected only various books and notes, what you have collected is Kuda. Through that, if we have not polished or purified our personality, and not allowed the self to reveal from within, this Janma is wasted. So he's saying that when a person, when these vasanas are functioning, the consciousness is expressing and dwelling in the body and enjoying various things in the world, gunas, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, they don't perceive the Atma. Forgot. They're lost. Isn't it? Easily you get distracted. And we are told in Vedanta class also, we have to do so many things to grasp, to keep your attention there. You need so many aspects. Now in this class, except for this, you are seeing me, I am talking. We are not even having a PowerPoint presentation. Right? So when we do public lecture, we do PowerPoint presentation. Little bit. Something you need to hold your attention. So he's saying, every one of us get distracted. We are totally deluded by the gunas. Sattvic fellow is deluded in the sattvic area. He's all the time thinking. Now also, this pandal is going on, no? Very close by to where we are doing this class. Now this Navaratras are there, pandal. It's a nice tradition, But unbelievable people go to pandals, which is good. I'm not saying, but only thing it should not be mechanical, that's all. Similarly, temples, places of worship, especially if it's a new year, you understand? You know how it is in North India. You go and see in South India. My God, this unbelievable crowd, and that too, night 12 o'clock itself, they have to be there. So in Chennai, for example, where I come from, mandir also full. You go to beach side, that is also full. So many people want to go there and then keep shouting, greeting each other, Happy New Year. Each one, according to their vasana, is lost in their delusion. And some of us are lost maybe in the scriptures also. We need to be very careful not to get lost. So when you say, Pitambara, what comes to your mind when you say Pitambara? Krishna, Lord Krishna. Pitambara means yellow cloth, literally. Is the yellow cloth coming to your mind? Or Sri Krishna coming? Sri Krishna. No? You understand the meaning. Pitambara means yellow cloth. But you identify with the one who is wearing the yellow cloth. So similarly, while we are hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, feeling, thinking, whatever it may be, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, whatever experience it could be, it should be the wearer, the Atma, that should come in our head, in our thinking. Then we are not deluded. Otherwise, we are deluded. Go away with that. That's it. We feel so accomplished as if we have done something great in all this crowd. You've gone and had darshan and come out. This is good. Fine, you had darshan, good. But through that, what has happened? Has your awareness increased? Right? Have you become more unselfish and selfless in life? Are you able to bring harmony around you? That's the reason why they have all these temples, traditional practices and everything. Otherwise, we are deluded, we are conditioned. New Year, I have to go to temple. Right, Shraddh aa gaya, ye karna padega. This dhanam has to be done. And this period, we should Navratra, we should not eat these things, we'll eat these things. And we feel that we are very spiritual. Why they are saying all this? To purify our personality, to reveal the self from within. Otherwise, what this shloka is saying, you are not perceiving. You've come very close, yet you are missing it. So it says the deluded does not perceive. Only the undeluded perceives. So when we are doing this class, either conducting the class or listening to the class, whichever may be the role you are playing, whatever may be the role you are playing, you are actually in the process of purifying. This is what we need to understand. Isn't it? For us, it's a sadhana when we talk. For others, sadhana while listening. Everybody is in the process of purification. As we purify, as we reduce the delusion, as we reduce the conditionings, we will perceive it. We will perceive the same Atma consciousness reflected in all, in everything. That's why he says, with the eye of wisdom, they see. Now, a guru can only give you knowledge. Guru cannot give you wisdom. Knowledge is tuition. Wisdom is intuition. And that intuition you have to bring through your efforts. You have to do sadhana and bring it. Right? Not Guru cannot help you to see it. You have to purify yourself. And that's why he says, to get rid of your delusion. Delusion, as I said, is nothing but placing exaggerated value, undue value. Something which is 10 rupees. Supposing you got it for 1,000 rupees and you are feeling very happy because that fellow quoted 10,000. And you bargained and you got it at 1,000. You come home very happy that I saved 9,000 rupees, Very good. You come home, mother or father, they say, hey, ये सिर्फ 10 रुपया का है, and they show you same thing what they bought somewhere for 10 rupees. Now how will you feel? That is called delusion. Right? So much exaggerated value we've placed upon this body, mind, intellect, to the objects and beings and all these things which we are going on perceiving, experiencing. That's called delusion. All these are useless. They are trifle without Atma reflecting. Hence, what is really precious? That is precious. Atma, not this. That's what he's teaching here. Let's conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.